Flosstube. Thanks for being here. My name is Marty. I go by Triple M Stitching here on the internet, and this is my next Flosstube update. I cannot remember the number, but today is, what is today? Wednesday, May 17th. My last Flosstube video was April 24th, so a little over 2 weeks ago, and I'm excited to talk to you about the goals that I completed, kind of follow up on the plans that I talked about last video, and talk about future plans too. So let's get going. I want to apologize if the light isn't really super great today. I think there's a storm rolling in. It's like getting darker by the minute outside, and I just got home, so hopefully the lighting doesn't get too weird. I've turned some lamps and such on, so we'll see what happens with the light. So I guess a brief life update. Things have been good around my way. I've been working my new job at the library, and it's been amazing, and just been busy with work and church and friends and things like that. This past weekend we celebrated Mother's Day with my family, my side of the family, outdoors, and it was nice to enjoy the spring weather. And then this coming weekend we are going to be seeing my husband's family up in the mountains. And I'm really excited about that as well. So let's see what I've been working on since April 24th, basically. I have my planner here, so if I'm looking down, I apologize. But if I filmed on the 24th, it seems like I may have worked one more day on my Santa stocking, which I think, oh, here it is. So unfortunately, my iPad has died. I did not realize it wasn't charging, so I'm going to show you cover photos on my phone if I need to, so apologies for the small size. But here's the cover photo for Santa's stocking. It's by Doreen Jones, as it says here on the top. And my goal last month in April was to work on it 3 days, and I think I was just doing like the last day of, like a fourth day on it after we spoke. Or maybe I showed it in my video. I am so sorry. So here is Santa stocking right now. I do have another goal for this month. I think I was working around this tree. Oh, sorry. My goal for this month is also 3 days on it. I think like 3-day chunks, at least one 3-day chunk per month is like a very attainable goal for me. And so I think that would be a good way to see continuous progress, and I'll talk about that more in plans. So I only worked on that a little bit, and then I moved on to my Dimensions kit piece, which is called Be a Light, and that is the cover photo. Oh, I usually try and show fabric and project bags and everything if I can remember, but if I forget, just let me know. Going back to Santa's stocking, that has the called for threads. And the fabric, I believe, is lamb's wool. And then this is a project bag that Santa Stocking lives in by, I'm trying to read it, Stitching with Grammy. And this next project, or Dimensions Be a Light, lives in a project bag from the Black Needle Society with artwork on it by Autumn Lane Stitchery. So one of my goals for this month, I'll show you the piece first and I'll tell you. So here is where Be a Light is now. Sorry for the hoop mark. That's a pretty good shot. And I'm really loving the kit. I have 2 jars, there's 3 jars, but I don't want to leave all the background to the end and then only have background left to do, so that's where I worked on it some as well. And then I also have worked on this recently. So May 8th through 11th, I worked on Be a Light because I had a goal of 3 days of background on this, which I achieved. And I think I mentioned that in my last video. A lot of the background is actually half stitches, which is fun because it goes fast and it helps with dimension, as the name implies. And so my goal for this month is met on this piece. I'm not sure if I'll bring it out again or not. I do really like it. And I think sometimes, like I'll talk about with the next piece that I worked on at the beginning of the month from the 1st through the 7th, this was like just kind of calling to me after that piece. And so I could see this one coming out again before May is over. But one of my, I guess the main way I was doing like some May stitching was for Mirabilia May. I wanted to start Christmas Elf Fairy. Here's the cover photo for her. I'll try and get closer. And I had this as a kit that I bought a year or two ago. Probably 2 years ago. And I hadn't started it, and I felt Mirabilia May was a perfect excuse to start it, and so I worked on it for 7 days. So I wanted to give it a week, and I did. There's a hanging thread that I'll explain, because I don't normally have hanging threads, but here's where I got to on her. So basically her whole dress is finished, and then her wings are outlined in the gray outline color. I was trucking along, and then I had to frog in here. Like, I was off by half a stitch because this is on linen. And so I fixed that mistake, and that wasn't too bad. I didn't have to rip out too many stitches. And now there is a mistake in this white bit. So all the rows on, or not all of them, but a lot of the rows on that bit are supposed to end in a quarter stitch. And I did not pay attention to that, unfortunately. So I kind of was just frustrated with that, and that's when I decided to pull out Be a Light and just kind of cleanse my palette. I've been working on her a lot in those 7 days, and so I think I just needed a break. One thing that I noticed, this project bag is from Goose Designs, cute farmhouse bag. So all the classic colorworks came with the kit. I think, dye lots change and stuff. I think that kind of happened in this case. So they're kind of bedraggled now. The 2 reds in her dress are Cupid and Bing Cherry. And I think now Cupid has more dark variegation than it did. That doesn't really look like anything, but I think now Cupid has more dark variegation than it did when this was stitched, or maybe they just really fussy cut it, because there were parts where the Bing Cherry and the Cupid were looking very similar when stitched, and there just wasn't as much of a stark contrast between the 2 colors than there was on the model. And so I kind of ended up fussy cutting Cupid to just be the bright red area so it would stand out more. But yeah, here is Christmas Elf Fairy. She is super fun to work on. I haven't done any of the specialty threads yet. There's like Krynic and Whisper in this piece, and I have not gotten started on those. And so I bet that'll be what I do some on my next rotation. I also want to get some of the wings starting to fill in the wing, because I can see myself like dreading that, even though usually that kind of fill-in ends up being really enjoyable once I start it, but I think it's more of a mental thing when I like see it coming up. I don't know. Sarah, Such a Mommy, you commented on my last video about you maybe bringing yours out in July, and that I could do that too. I think that's a really good idea, and so I am going to bring it out for Christmas in July, because I don't want to have just done this 1 week on her and gotten really good progress and then stall out until like December when I feel like doing Christmas again. So that is the plan for that one. Hopefully you will all see her again in July, if not before. And then after Christmas Elf Fairy, I worked more on Be a Light, and I already showed you that. And then over the weekend, I didn't really stitch at all because it was just crazy weekend stuff. But I decided that at the beginning of this week, I would like a new start. And this is a chart that I showed. Sorry, I have a bag of threads in here. In my last video that I got in Stash Acquisitions, that I also saw on Stitchin' Mommy's channel. And I was asking for help with fabric choices, and so I did choose fabric for Life's a Beach. Here's what the cover photo looks like. I'll try and get with no glare. This was definitely like removed from a book. I saw it on her channel, and then I looked it up on eBay. I think I mentioned this previously, but it just had like the cover photo. But now that I have the paper, it does seem to have like numbers. Like this is page 12. I can't tell. It's a leisure arts book, but I have no idea which one. So yeah. Again, I got it on eBay. I searched it and it came right up, which was fun. And so I decided on, I had like 4 or 5 options last video for fabric. I decided on the 28 count cotton, or the 28 count Jubilee in mint green. That's the info packet on it. And I started it just a little bit because I didn't have all the colors. So here is my start. Wow. It's just a tree trunk. The mint green, that is probably the best representation of the mint green way back here. But I love this Jubilee like even weave. I had no idea that I would like it so much. It is so easy. Like it's, I think I like thick even weaves that aren't too like thin or floppy. I think I'm like nitpicking fabric now. But I do just really like this fabric and this color. And so I went on eBay to see if they had any more. Like if anyone was selling any on eBay, and there was none on there. So I was sad. There was none on eBay. So I set like an eBay alert. So if anyone listening, I will hopefully get an alert and be able to buy it. But I do really enjoy this fabric, and I'm really excited to get going on this project. It's hanging out. I think this is a Lollipop Stitches. It's the Ruffle Paper Co. fabric with like the Beauty and the Beast images on it. And I have my threads in, it's a Bags Plus, maybe Angela. I got it from somebody's D-stash, I believe. And then I have a few more threads that I just bought and I need to bobbinate. And now looking at this, I realized I meant to buy fray check today and I forgot. So I need to get some fray check. So yeah, that is my newest project. I'm really excited about it. I did scan this paper in because I'm kind of scared of it because paper is a little thin. So I scanned it on Adobe Scan and put it in a like PDF. So it is preserved. And yeah, that's all the stitching I have done recently. I'll show you my goals for May. So I started Christmas Eve Fairy and I worked 3 days on Be a Light, but I have not yet done my 3 days on Santa Stocking because I worked on it last in April. And so I plan on working on it some this weekend potentially. Like I said, we're going to the mountains and there's usually just downtime to relax and stitch, and I think doing his beard will be a good way to like do mindless stitching that's not too complicated while I'm in the mountains. And I think I'll also bring Life's a Beach just because I like options. And yeah, those are kind of just my main 2 stitchy plans. I don't have any stash acquisitions. Looking forward into June, I don't have any goals written down yet. There's one piece I do want to start. It's a like fall leaf wreath by Doreen Jones. I think it's on the World of Cross Stitching's Etsy page. Let me see if I can find it while we're talking. And that's kind of the only thing I know I want to start because I don't see myself starting it in July because of Christmas in July. And I want it done for fall, and so I think starting in August might cut it too close for getting it done in FFO. I like to have time, I guess, before I need to have something done. So I'm going to scroll for a minute until I find it. Here it is. Yeah, it's in the World of Cross Stitching Etsy store. So that's a stitching magazine that you can get. I get mine for free a lot on Libby. But there seems to be a lot of color changes in this pattern, so I think I might want to buy the PDF so I can zoom in on my iPad. But I have done 2 Doreen Jones wreaths before, and which I think they're both on my Instagram, Triple M Stitching. And so I love the fall one. And that is kind of my only plan for June, I think, is to start that. Other than that, I'd like to work more on Life's a Beach because we are going to the beach in June. So that will be relevant. And Be a Light also is good, like summer firefly vibes. So I'll probably work on that as well. But I haven't really like unfolded my plans for June. So if anyone's doing anything interesting with their plans, because I know I'm going to be doing, like, yeah, let me know if you have any like interesting stitching schemes coming up in June. I'll be doing Jolly July, and then I'll be doing Arbitrary August, and then I have 2 projects for Sampler September. So going forward, there's some structure to the months, but June is just almost so wide open, and I love all my projects, so I'm like, I'd like to work on all of them. So maybe I'll just do little chunks on a bunch. We'll see. So I have one book, actually, that I read recently that I was going to chat about. When I was filming really regularly before, I did chat about books at some of the end of my videos when I had one that I'd finished. So I've been doing some like nonfiction reading on local history, but this is a fiction book that I read recently. It's called Westward the Dream by Judith Pella and Tracy Peterson. The genre is Christian historical fiction, I would say, so very, very wholesome book. Not, I guess I wouldn't say cheesy, I would say like feel good reading. I mean, there's some really heavy stuff that happens, but yeah, I've been really enjoying it. It's kind of set during like the outset of the Civil War and the building of the Transcontinental Railroad, which has always been really interesting to me. I had a Dear America like historical fiction diary book growing up about a girl who lived, or who's a fiction character who lived during the construction of the Transcontinental Railroad. So that was always really interesting to me, and so it's been really good. It's part of a series. I meant to get the second one while I work at a library. I meant to get it today from work, and I forgot. So I do recommend that. There's definitely like faith-based Christian themes, so if that is exciting or not as exciting to you, just an FYI for that. And yeah, I think that's the end of this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know down below what you're stitching on and what plans you have coming up. So thank you for being here, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.